Well, good morning. Another day here. I'm going to do the right side mirror now. Now, there's no real videos on how to take these side mirrors off, and it's quite simple. I'm going to try to tape it a bit more today. So first, you got to try to get this inner panel off, which is quite tricky because there's these plastic studs that are in the door, and try to use the right prying tools without damaging anything because they're quite ways in there. They're not right on the edge, basically. They're sitting quite in there. There's a row in here and then all along the sides, basically on the bottom. Now on these indoor panels on the Hummer, if you pull on them, they're made sort of real flimsy because you can tell then they're coming apart here, they're coming apart there, or they're trying to break. They're not really one solid piece, so you have to kind of work it carefully. And yeah, once you get this thing off, I'm gonna show you what it looks like. But this is the first task, is trying to get this out without damaging it, and that's really the hard part, without breaking these off. The second part then is basically to disconnect the wires. Start with this little thing right here. There's a tab in there. Take this screw off, and then there's two screws that need to be taken off over here. Those are number 7s, I think it was. That's a Phillips right here. You take this lid off, and then you can start trying to pry off these these plastic things. I mean, you can kind of tell where they're at. If you see that little white thing right in there, that's one of these, and you have several of them all the way around the door. So I'll keep you up to date on this. All right, once you got the panel off, this is what it looks like. Now you can see where all these pins are. You can see in the upper part there's a row of pins right there, and then you see these white pins, okay, all the way around. Then you got some black ones down there, probably been exchanged before. Right there, the white ones are the original ones, and you got these big guide things right here and pins right next to that. So you have to be careful on that. And this is what the door looks like from the inside. So all you got to do now is disconnect the wires, and your panel is essentially free. So once you have the panel off, then we're left with the wires, basically. So this is the two wires that go out to the mirror. This is your main power wire right here that brings the power to the main switch, and then these are your windows, and this one down here is just the entry light thingy. You can see this is when you put the thing back on. This part here is going to be the tricky one, because this is the one that goes up and that opens and closes the door, basically, with the little switch inside, and that's sort of the tricky thing. So now we need to get to the mirrors right here, cables right here. So that's very simple. There's an access hole right behind in here. And in order not to destroy this whole thing, because it's all original, still sticks, which is seldom on these trucks that they're just kind of hanging like this, or that you still see them as good as this. Is what it looked like underneath right here. There's foam, and then there's this insulation stuff on there, or whatever, noise cancellation, or whatever the hell it is. But anyways, not to destroy the whole thing, I'm just going to cut a hole right into down here, because that's the access hole right here to get to the screws of the mirror. Basically, that's what it is. The panel you just kind of set aside. And as you can tell, the way they made these panels, they made this thing in sections. So this right here, it's a section. And you could do that probably with screws or something like this to get it fixed better to it. And you can see right here, they kind of plastic welded this stuff. And you can see it right here. And all these seams, and that's where they tend to break. They're just all flimsy, you know, like this is the door handle part right here in which you open and close the door, and you can tell on mine right here there's a crack in here, so some of you done ripped this door up pretty good. So I might put some glue on there or not, I don't know, I'll have to see. I might do that some other time. This is the little thing, the little pin that goes in there, and then it opens up your door, okay, or at least it shows you how the door opens up and closes. Or this is where you can move the mechanism, so if that little pin later on doesn't get right in the middle of this thing, then you can't, from the inside, seen right here, you can't move this. Or you can move it and nothing will happen to it. So that's what you kind of have to watch for. All right, once you cut a hole into it, you kind of look in here, and you might not be able to see it, but the bottom 2 screws of the mirrors are back there where my fingers are. That's the bottom 2. And then there's 2 more on top, and you have to kind of lower the window for that, which is a pain, because once you got everything off, you got to hook the panel back up in order to get it down and so on. So that's basically it. So I'm going to just pull the wire out now, try to loosen up these screws, and then we kind of go from there. Well, there you see the mirror is off. I've got my panel hanging down. I've just kind of left the the wires on so I can kind of move the window up and down a little quicker. It's sort of a bad deal for the panel, but I'm gonna just do it that way. So that's the hole again, you know, right there you see the hole where the mirror goes. Like that's where the back side of the mirror is. Inside you got number 13 mil screws you got to take out. It's a little tricky because the window is still in the way in some ways, but you can easily get to it with just a wrench. Kind of get in there and kind of work. Go easy, because otherwise you rip your hands off. Yesterday I slipped off and I kind of hurt my hand pretty good, my right one. So today I'm working with the left. So anyways, ease up on it. I'm gonna just put the new mirror on. There it is. Same plug, same everything. I'm gonna put it back on, and then we're basically done with the door. So that's it. So the mirror is back on. I gotta put the screws back on there again. So if you kind of look up there and see if you can get it. It's a bit hard with the sun right now. Why light comes in. I already put one of the nuts on, and then further up, let me try something. Not really working, but further up, I'm gonna add the other screws. You kind of do them by hand first, trying to kind of get a little tight, these screws. One of them you have to kind of work like this. You gotta balance the screw between your two fingers and kind of just roll it on like this until you get it started, and that's basically it. And then you put the door back up on there in the panel. Like I said, this pin here is the important one, because that thing makes the door go, you know, open or close right here. That pin is essentially this switch right here, and the back of it there's like a little hole that you have to fit it into, and once that's in, the door's set and it's all good. Well, you can tell I got the panel back on. I'm just going to put the last little cover on now. That's just a Phillips screw. I gotta still put these two screws in there in order to hold the door the door panel to the door, and then you can tell new mirror is on. Just gotta unwrap it, and then gotta test it, and that's it. So here we are sitting in my Hummer, and I am pushing the switch to fold the mirrors in, and look at that. They are folding in quite nicely and folding out quite nicely, both sides. So we're good to go. We got no mirrors. Wonderful. So now we can take care of some of the other stuff in the inside.